Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
Ugh, you said you were over him, but his hoodie is still in your rotation. It's time. Grab your phone, snap a few pics, and sell it on Depop. Listed in minutes with no selling fees. And just like that, a guy 500 miles away just paid full price for your closure. And right on cue.
Hey, still got my hoodie?
Nope. But I've got tonight's dinner paid for. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste. List now with no selling fees. Payment processing fees and boosting fees still apply. See website for details.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ospreys Eyrie. Tonight, I am joined by Grant. How are you, Grant?
All good. Thank you very much for asking. Some people don't really care, do they? But yeah, I'm fine.
Glad to hear it. It's just me and Grant tonight, me, Josh, and Grant. Yeah, good evening and welcome to the Eyrie. Right, let's get into it. So, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of news so far this week. Obviously, we had the big St. Helens news last week. There's been some rumours that we can go over at some point, some transfer rumours, hopefully signing rumours, and some players returning from injury, and also some players potentially being injured now. So, yeah, we can cover all of that, as well as the Con-nacht game, and looking forward to the Ulster game. So, yeah, should we start with the potential injuries that we've picked up over the last week or so? The first being, it looks like Luke Scully is going under the knife again, which is a massive shame. What are your thoughts on that, Grant?
I just feel so sorry for the guy. Yeah, I can't say the boy anymore. He's been around the squad for a couple of years now. Was he 23-ish? And he's just so unlucky. You know, we need cover at 10. We desperately need some cover at 10. When you've got Dan Edwards as a 10, Jack Walsh with the ability to cover, and Luke Scully, you know, is next in line. And yeah, he's out longer than he's in. Love him. I just feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, it's a massive shame, to be fair. I'm just having a look at his age now. He's 26 now.
Oh, right.
So yeah, he was young when he signed for us, and it just felt like he hasn't had any luck with the injuries.
Yeah.
He's looked good when he's been fit, mind, but yeah, I don't know how long his current contract is going on for. But yeah, it's just a massive shame, really. It's a massive shame to see a player with such promise just seems to get such rotten luck.
Yeah. Fingers crossed for the guy. You know, Ospreys need cover at 10, and yeah, that's what he's there for, isn't it? So
yeah, 100%. The other one who seemed to pick up a niggle of some kind in the warm-up, he was due to start, but Lewis Lloyd, Sam Parry came in as a late replacement. They kind of rumoured it as an arm injury on comms. But yeah, I personally, I hope he can get back fit, because we both kind of touted him to start this game and thought he deserved a start. So he's just desperate and lucky, isn't it, Grant?
Yeah. We said in the last week's podcast is, look, we'd love to see what he can do from the start of the game in terms of the impact he's got, because his pace, his work rate is absolutely superb. So seeing him named in the starting lineup was like, oh, about time. Let's see what he can deliver. And yeah, being withdrawn at that late stage is, yes, again, disappointing.
Yeah, it just feels hugely frustrating. Definitely. I think, to be fair, if there's any position we're probably quite stacked in, it's probably hooker. If you look at your sort of Lake, Harry, I thought Evan Daniel looked really sharp off the bench. Like he's always looked good when he steps up.
He did look good. Yeah, it was limited time, isn't it? But yeah, I thought he played well on the weekend.
Oh, definitely, yeah. He just looks like, physically, he looks massive. Even for like a freshman player, he looks enormous. So yeah, hopefully if he's given some game time, but yeah. Hopefully Lou Lloyd's injury is just precautionary. They just didn't want to risk him, and he's not going to be out for too long. Yeah, one of the players we did see return to action, he's just come back from a injury. He was in the Welsh camp, I think, in the autumn. But yeah, I thought he looked sharp for the bench. Ben Warren. What did you think of his first game back for the Ospreys?
Well, our tight play was good. You can't say anymore. No, there's one thing I want from a tight head all the time is secure set piece, and yeah, that if you do that, then you can add the extras on. I thought, yeah, we weren't let down. He didn't let us down. He did well. No, don't ask me too much about tight head play. Okay, it's the last thing I want to know anything about in reality.
No, I'm exactly the same, but I'm with you that I like my props being able to scrummage first, and anything else just bonus. I am more than happy with Tommy Beaufort just moving from scrum to scrum. To be honest,
Yeah, I'm watching him edging around in the background. Okay, standing behind Mark Jones is like, oh, he's out there. It's like traveling reserve. It's like, oh, it's frustrating. You just
yeah,
want to pitch.
no, definitely. But to be fair, having watched a lot of Dragons over the last couple of weeks, it just shows you how much gold dust just having a few really good tight heads is. And I think between both Henry and Warren, as well as some youngsters coming through, people like Kean Hire, we've got some really good tight head depth. To be honest, who can more than hold their own in the scrum.
Yeah, well, it's always been an Osprey strength, isn't it, into the pack, and yeah, we're not letting ourselves down. Still, we like scrimmaging wise, yeah, we're always there or thereabouts. I think the only time we tend to get penalised normally, okay, is interpretation of the ref, because I think we generally strong up front.
Yeah, 100% big time. And it definitely, seems to be a strength for the weekend. We can probably move on to the Connacht game now. My overall thoughts were probably it was another game that potentially got away from us. I think we had more than enough opportunities to win the game and probably come away with 5 points even with a rotated side. What were your thoughts?
You go back to the rotated side at the starting point, and the conversation last week was, in terms of the league, okay, this is a must-win game. So when we saw the rotated side, and in my opinion, Jet's starting lineup was slightly weakened. When you're seeing Fender and Brian Smith on the bench and a few other key players on the bench, it's like, what was this the game to do that? But the performance we put in general, was like, is okay. It's improvement on the week before, for sure. Still frustrating.
So, Connacht game. Grant, can you give me your overall thoughts on that?
Frustrating. We had a week inside out. We did talk last week about the fact that if this is really important, it's a must-win game, is really important that we took 4 points at least from the game. So when you saw the rotated side, it's like, oh no, are we going to end up in the situation we did last year in terms of trying to concentrate on a cup game the following week? And I hope this doesn't catch us out. But the actual game, it was really well balanced. We performed well, scrummaging wise. Lineup was a little bit of a letdown again. People, when they compete against us, they put some real pressure on us. But I thought something we've been lacking for a couple of weeks is our back play just isn't quite clicking like it used to. I don't know what's different, and appreciate your opinion as a 10 in terms of getting teams moving forward and flowing properly. It just doesn't seem quite right at the moment.
Yeah, no, I'm with you to be fair on that. I think, in terms of the rotation, it's a bit of a weird one because we rotated towards the end of the Challenge Cup group stage and kind of potentially cost ourselves a home knockout game because we're focusing on the league. And now it's kind of it felt like we were rotating because we were prioritising now the Challenge Cup, but now we've got to do it the hard way by going probably away in the Challenge Cup just to get to the final. In terms of the changes in the back line, I agree. It doesn't seem to be flowing very well. But I don't necessarily think that I don't necessarily like our style of play sometimes. I think use what you've got, and if you've got Kieran, use him to bash down doors. Don't use him as a distributor, because if you want a distributing 12, I'd rather see Thock and a Singer in there. Get Kieran bashing down doors repeatedly and get over the gain line. I think when we looked more fluid, we kind of had 2 or 3 phases getting over the gain line and then looked to play off that, as opposed to early doors, I thought we looked at, and it was the same in the Benetton game. I thought we looked quite lateral, and they were quite happy just to push us towards a touchline. And then if you don't get that go forward in the first two phases, it's then quite difficult to generate momentum from that, and you kind of then have to kick the ball away. Especially early doors, I wouldn't even mind going back to sort of, where we used to play in the Toby booth, where you'd send Kieran off the back of a line out, off the tail, or have Morgan Morris coming off the tail of a line out. Get yourself some go forward, and then build momentum from there. Because I think I'm happy with the selection and the boys we're picking. I just don't. I just think Flying can be too lateral at times, essentially.
It does sort of show that when Keelan Giles isn't on the pitch, that we miss a little bit of that special spark who can change a game. He snuck in against the Dragons, right at the end to win the game, just with sheer pace.
Yeah.
I thought Luke Morgan had a tidy game. Dan Cassende worked his guts out again and looked impressive. But just having like someone who can make a big difference with a moment and a little spark, makes a difference. And Dan Cassende bashed his way through a few people, didn't he? Going down the touchline a few times. But we just not like I said, if you've got that initial sort of momentum going forward, it makes life a lot easier then, doesn't it, for following phases.
100%. And I'm with you on Giles as well. I think it's that sort of X factor player. Kind of like when we had Shane back in the day, you just kind of, nothing was on, but you'd give the ball to Shane even in the 10 channel, and he'd jink past a couple of people and create some space. And I think the other thing with Giles is I think other teams are so aware of how elusive he is. Defenders tend to sit off when he has the ball, because if you try and get up in his face, he can make you look rather stupid. So I think just even little things like that, like defenses will back off him a little bit. Whereas I think Cassande is unbelievable at what he does. He's brilliant in the air, nuts and bolts, like very good defensively. As you say, hands off players, but he doesn't necessarily have that X factor that Keelan does. And similar, I thought Luke, that was probably one of the best performances I've seen Luke Morgan put in for us in probably a couple of seasons. I thought aerially he looked really strong. We didn't necessarily see him ball in hand in any sort of space, but I think when he was called upon, I think he played really well.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think he had a good game.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping. Do we know anything more about Keelan's injury? Do we know if he's going to be fit for Ulster?
Well, he pulled out of the Benetton game because he's carrying a slight injury, and I thought it was precautionary that they're going to rest him just for the game. So I was fully expecting him to have seen him back into the Con-nacht game. So whether it's like, okay, let's make sure he's right for the cup game. Fingers crossed we will see him on the weekend. So no, that's my guess of why he's not come back in. I really hope he's all right for his sake and for the team's sake, because it makes a difference.
Oh, definitely. I'm hoping in a few positions like Bothan and that sort of thing. And I think Ryan Smith on the bench, it did feel like this is kind of a squad to prepare for that game. Like boys who needed game time were given game time. And I think a lot of the boys who might be playing coming off the bench for us against Ulster were potentially starting and given like 60, 70 minutes to get them really up for that when they come on. But yeah, for me, Keelan's going to be huge. But they've got Werner Koch on the wing, who's an absolute powerhouse. So it'd be nice to have our own little X factor player and someone who can make him look a bit stupid, hopefully.
Oh, that's going to be a challenge. Mind you, Werner Koch had one of his worst games in a while when he played in Bridgend. So fingers crossed he does it again. Was it that the game? Or was I thinking of one of the other games when he played? And because I've always been massively impressed when he plays, and I watched him the other night, and I was let down by his performance. So that's really good news for us.
Yeah, definitely. To me, I don't know if I'm wrong. Something feels a bit Jeff Hassler about him. I just think he runs really hard again and again and again. He's got that long hair at the back. It's going everywhere. And I just feel like he run through brick walls. That's just, yeah.
Sort of player you want in your team. Yeah, like I said, Jeff Hassler, it's like, oh, right, he's taking a run up at someone. And this person, I don't know if they've not seen him before, but maybe they're expecting him to try and step, but he's not going to be stepping anyone.
Oh no, all north south, no side stepping, no subtlety, straight through.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
I do
definitely.
remember Jeff Hassler sidestepping someone once, and it's just like, oh my God, once.
Oh, honestly, I love Jeff Hass. I remember, yeah, I was at Swansea Uni while he was an Ospreys player. And, I remember seeing him on a night out once, and even on a night out, he was so cool. He had his backwards cap on, obviously like Canadian accent, just walk around like, yeah, he looked like a surfer, and I was like, yeah, yeah, he's cool. He's cool.
Yeah, with a yeah.
I remember pointing him out to my mate who's not a rugby fan and just being like, yeah, that guy there, he's one of Ospreys' best players. He is, and he was like, oh, nice, nice. Nicky Smith was on the same night out as well, I think.
Yeah.
Slightly different personalities on a night out, I'd imagine. So any big performances? Any standout performances from the
Uh,
game?
Jack Morgan's playing at Jack Morgan standards. It's the same we used to say about Tipperick, and I said he was nothing special for Tipperick, but he's pretty special for anyone else on the pitch. I thought Jack Morgan was great again. He's just so good over the ball, isn't he? Carries well. It's what you need in the team. I thought Dan Edwards played quite well, and again, when Dan's introduced into a loose game, and you see someone just with natural rugby ability, not just like controlling the game and just getting to play rugby, yeah, he's a joy. The disallowed try that he set up, I thought, well, how many tens can do that?
Yeah, I know I definitely couldn't do that. I was watching it, I was like, how can I bring this into my game? Oh yes, I don't have elite pace, so I can't bring that into my game, unfortunately.
Just deep around the outside of people without them touching him. It's easy, isn't it?
Oh, honestly, yeah,
Uh,
it's a massive USP for him, that isn't it? Yeah, he's brilliant at that. And I agree with you. I thought he controlled the game really well. Considering he didn't play last week, he's had a couple of weeks off since being on Wales duty, and I think he looked like he was building from the Italy performance. He looked confident.
yeah,
Uh,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and knocking over conversions out wide as well in a tough win as well. So
yeah,
yeah, building well. I think it'll definitely help. I thought Lukey Dye had a really good game, but I just think Hardy does offer a little bit more in terms of a threat around the breakdown. I think Lukey Dye is a really good distributor in terms of getting to rucks and getting the ball away. But I think Ruben and Kieran tend to look for that snipe a little bit more, which keeps defenders honest around the breakdown. And then it offers more space for people like Dan to sit out the back.
Again, it's a little bit about sort of raw pace, isn't it? And yeah, Hardy and Ruben are both really pacey guys, and yeah, if they make a break, they're gone. And you see Luke as just I see him just as a distributor. He keeps the ball moving really well, but that extra threat I don't think is there with Luke.
Yeah, 100%. It's a shame we didn't really get to see much of Harry Williams because he only came on with sort of 2 minutes to go, I think, off that. Yeah, it seems like scrums
Yeah.
was last play.
Yeah, it's going to be frustrated with that, isn't it? I know it's a tight game, and he doesn't. It's important that we try and get the result over the line, and we didn't. But just 2 minutes, that's going to be so frustrating, especially the 2 minutes he had where he's like, not well protected ball coming back to him near the end of the game as well as. Yeah, can't have been the most rewarding trip for the guy.
No, no, definitely not. No, definitely not. But yeah, to me, I'm not that disappointed in the performance. I do agree that in attack we don't look as fluid as we have done. But I'm hoping a slight tweak in the way we approach the game in terms of being. I'm hoping if we're a bit more direct against Ulster, we can hopefully look a little bit more fluid then. I Yeah, I'm a big fan of Keith, but I don't know if we do look better in attack potentially with Singer sometimes. And yeah, I don't know if it's because Keith's going to be here next year and we want to continue to invest, and he's shown how good he is. Um, and that's why potentially with Singer being off, we've kind of gone, well, okay, we're going to invest in the boys who are going to be here next year and develop them a bit further if it's a tight call.
Yeah, it's a good call, that isn't it? It's frustrating, and we have chopped and changed centres the last few weeks. I know it's on the back of the Six Nations, and we've got players, well, Owen Watkin coming back into the squad, who's in and back out again. So we haven't had a lot of continuity, and you look at the best teams, and you've got a definite best pair that play together, and I genuinely don't think we know who our best pair are.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's in a way because it's felt like in previous years we've kind of been a little bit short on centres. It is nice to have that problem, I guess, of four, five as well, including Tom Florence as well. Quality centre. I thought Boshoff actually looked really good at the weekend. I thought he made some really good defensive reads where he kind of shifted off his man, was able to make the tack around the corner. Yeah, almost like an Owen Watkin kind of defensive performance from Boshoff.
Yeah, he seems to be a half a second ahead of the opposition in terms of getting in the right position, doesn't he, defensively? Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Boshoff.
yeah, I'm a big fan. But yeah, I think we can potentially come on to team selection for Ulster in a minute. But I do think if Owen's fit though, he obviously potentially comes back in, doesn't he?
Yeah. Fully fit when Watkins, a pleasure to watch, isn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. So I know you potentially looked at a couple of the stats from the weekend. With it, any sort of key takeaways you had?
It was really even. Possession 51 to 49%, offload 7 to 8. Connacht made 70 more meters than us, only beat 4 more defenders. Clean breaks, six clean breaks from us from the game. And if you look at them, looking at the disallowed try on the try, that like I said, we're not quite clicking away there. But the rest of it is really, really even. So yeah, for a marginally passes called forward in terms of the disallowed try, right at the end of the first half as well. The only real kicks retained, 3 compared to 1 from Connacht. So again, the Dan Cassende influence in there, and Luke Morgan, we did well with the aerial side of things. Line out lost us a little bit, but pretty much everything else was good. So it was a well balanced game and fairly shocking. Well, sorry, standard Connacht conditions. You can say no, it's not a windy day, isn't it? Forecast looks good for Connacht. Still not good.
Yeah.
It's a win. But Ed's knocking all those kicks in that win. Fair play. Yeah. Great effort.
Well, hopefully it'll put him in good stead when he's playing at St Helens next year, because that is going to get wins there, I'd imagine.
Directly in his face every time, or within one or the other.
Yeah,
If you
100%.
have an opportunity to drop kick a ball 70 odd meters, it's either in Connacht or St Helens.
Well, I think, I know it's a slightly off piece, but I do think that's a massive, that is a massive advantage, because teams going to Connacht, unless you've played there a few times, it is really tough judging the wind and the conditions. And I think we can potentially make that our strength when we move to St Helens, the fact that we'll be training in that wind every single day. So hopefully that can be a real strength of ours, and it can be a nightmare place for people to come.
But yeah, you'd like to think that there'll be some extra kicking duties and some extra kicking training every day for a few key individuals.
No, yeah, 100%, 100%.
Really, really even games. So frustrating. Not well. I picked up 1 point. It could easily been 2. Could easily been 4. But there we are.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd love to know the sort of 22 entries. I've had a look at the stats. I've only eyeballed it, but it felt like we had substantially more 22 entries, and we just didn't take our opportunities.
Yeah, we did spend a lot of time without the ability to get over the line. Where early in the season and last season, sometimes we were flowing beautifully, okay, and we could finish our chances. And I don't know if it's nerves, tiredness this point in the season. I don't know, but not quite right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. To be fair, I think, yeah, there was a couple of points in that first half where we had penalty advantage from. I think we had a scrum midfield, and there was a couple of scrums in a row where we got the penalty advantage, and we played away and almost looked for the Hail Mary play of trying to score, and then we didn't score. Okay, we'll go back for the penalty. in a way, I'd rather us go through 10, 20, 30 phases if needs be. And the way the advantage is at the moment, we either score a try or it goes back for the advantage.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I don't think we necessarily made the most of those penalty advantage. We kind of just went, oh, we've got penalty advantage. We'll play out the back. We'll look for something out wide, create the Hail Mary pass. Oh, it didn't come off. Right, we'll come back for the penalty. It's like, well, that's how a lot of the Irish sides kind of build pressure, is going through 10, 15 phases of under penalty advantage. And then, oh, we dropped the ball. Okay, well, we'll get the ball back now. You've defended 20 phases and you're going to have to defend another 20 now because we're going back for the penalty.
The stats say that the longer the phases go on, the less likely you are to score. Okay, because but if you're not getting anywhere, like the miracle, you don't. If it works early phases, great, okay, fine. But if it doesn't, then it needs to be a degree of patience and staying organised as well, so that they're not beginning to start losing shape and potential. Like I said, it's going to be called back eventually. It frustrates the hell out of me the fact that there's not a fixed number of phases which are played from penalty advantage or meters gained, because it seems like you can rewind and lose 5 minutes of the game where someone's tried bashing away the line and they come back. I'm thinking, well, all that effort for absolutely nothing. That 5 minutes of game that didn't count frustrates the hell out of me.
Oh yeah, it annoys me as well. I'm not gonna lie, it does annoy me. Another key point in the game was the Jack Morgan yellow, but what preceded it, I don't know if you've seen it. You've seen the video. What were your thoughts on the hit on James Verratti?
It's one of those fairly innocuous looking moments at the time when you watch it back, and it's the sort of thing where 99% of the time you see that happen, the team will intervene, call it, and the guy will be a yellow for an off-field review. So the fact that we didn't go back for that review at all, or the TMO didn't call it when replays were being shown, huge. Bratty's not a short guy, is he? And he's caught him high. It's shoulder to head, shoulder to shoulder. But what you see him called all of the time these days, that looked like a straight yellow to me. I don't like it. I think it's like borderline, but every call you've seen at the moment, that would be like 10 minutes at least.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think yeah, the frustrating thing for me as well is how I don't necessarily. Yeah, I think the on-field officiating is poor, but it's getting better. For me, the most frustrating thing I find in the URC is the TMO intervention, and nearly every game there seems to be some sort of technical issue at the start where the referee can't hear the TMO, and then throughout the game it doesn't necessarily feel like the TMO is intervening at the times you'd expect him to intervene and look at different camera angles. And yeah, there was enough of a stoppage where they were assessing James Ratty and then he went off for an HIA. Surely common sense then prevails that he's probably had a head knock. We need to have a look at this.
Yeah, that's the clear bit, and that he's gone off.
Yeah.
Why is he gone off?
Yeah. And that's where I think I watch a lot of the Premiership as well. And I just think with the Premiership, that's something they get right 9 times out of 10, where they use an element of common sense. And I know you can't always check the TMO, and sometimes that could lead to players milking it to try and get them to check a head injury. But 6'4", 6 foot.
Oh, he's frozen. Where has he gone? I'll do a little tap dance while I wait for him to come back.
But yeah, in terms of the officiating, it's just for me, it's just frustrating at this point. It's just really, you just want the right decision to be arrived at, regardless if it's with us or against us. And even the Jack Morgan yellow, it's so hard to measure 10 meters. He was probably back about between 8 and 10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I thought it was a harsh yellow.
Yeah.
There we are. And given the timing, okay, given who it was as well, it's like, we're trying to get some momentum in the game and come back and just edge this now. It's like, oh God, the one person you don't want off the pitch, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. But yeah, I know you mentioned it earlier, but I'd agree that it looks like he's never been away. It's
Yeah,
just everything he does, like carrying, physicality, his tackling, his jackling, it's just back to the Jack we know.
simply the best. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
But you go back to the refs, so and first try was called back. After the conversion, it's like, oh, hang on, stop, rewind, and TMO intervenes, and then he doesn't intervene when Ratty gets caught. Um, he doesn't intervene where Jack Walsh looks like the outside lob that he put into Luke Morgan looked more forward than when Dan Edwards made the break for the disallowed try. But Verdevelli's called, no, that's flat. And because the refs called it, I don't think that the TMO decided to intervene on the back. It's almost a direct instruction saying, no, I'm happy with that. It's like, well,
yeah.
actually, if you did want to go back and look at that one, it probably looked worse than the first one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is what it is. I do think over the course of the season, it should hopefully level out in terms of we'll get some decisions for us, we'll get some decisions against us, and it is what it is. But it isn't half frustrating at the time. It isn't.
I'm pretty sure any team who loses will say they haven't had the rub of the green with the ref.
Oh, definitely. I think with rugby, it's so subjective, a lot of the decisions, and it could be argued both ways. So, yeah, you're always going to feel a little bit hard done by. Um, but yeah, right. Moving forward now, looking forward, we got a last 16 of the Challenge Cup away to Ulster. How are we feeling going into that?
Um, there's two ways to look at it. I'm always optimistic, but there's also the point of view that don't expect too much. Again, things can only be better than what you expect. We haven't got a great track record out in Ravenhill, but a good Ospreys team can do damage to anyone. We've beaten Ulster at home, so it gives me a degree of hope. There's a few injuries with the Ulster team as well, so it's all to play for. Based on the fact that we rotated last weekend, you got to look at the fact that there's huge focus on this game, and it's all or nothing. And with a view that it doesn't look like I'm going to get to Belfast now, so I'm fully reliant on the quarterfinals, the semi-final, and being in the final now. Cycle into the final, so better get there.
Where is the final?
San Sebastian or
Oh,
Bilbao. So yeah. So it's not a bad charity ride to end up there and get there in time for the final. But if the Ospreys make the Challenge Cup final, I'll be jumping on a bus and missing the last day and a half, I think, to make sure if we get there. So huge game this weekend, and fingers crossed that we can, we go full out all the best aspects of our play into the hardness, toughness, trying to outdo people physically up front, and then see what we can do from there. So it's going to be a challenge.
yeah. Speaking of throwing everything at it, should we try and do a team prediction? Obviously, injury dependent. We don't know the situation with all players, but assuming everyone we know to be fit and not fit is the case, should we start with a front row? What front row would you go for?
I front row expert. The way I started putting on weight from about the age of like 20 onwards, mind okay, I could have got there in the end, but before I started running, I got a bike late in life. You've got to go full out tough scrummaging team. So if Gareth Thomas is available, don't quite know what's wrong with Gareth Tom, him, Dewi, and Tom both, I'd just go full heavyweight out and out for this game.
Nice. Yeah, fully on board with that. That's got to be the front row for me. Right, second rows.
Ryan Smith +1, and the +1 I'm not quite sure in terms of is Rhys Davis there, and if Rhys Davis is fully there, then I think I'd be starting Rhys alongside him and just go full out heavyweight. Big ball carriers as well. The pair of them defensively work hard as well. If Rhys Davis can play 6 and be that size, then yeah, I'd partner him with Smith as well. I'll be frozen again.
There we go. Right, we're back. Yeah, I would agree on the second rows. I think obviously Rhys Davis, don't know how fit he is coming back, but he had a full. Well, he started the last game, so I think him and Ryan Smith make a really strong second row pairing. So I'm bored with that. Right, back row, Grant. Now
Jack,
this is good luck.
Jack Morgan. Um, I'd carry on with Ratty at 6 in terms of a big ball carrier, especially with Moriarty not available as well. I think James Ratty would be there. And alongside them, I play Morgan Morris. I think Morgan Morris has just got that ability and hunger and bulk to start the game with. Morgan Morris coming off the bench. No, that doesn't. I know if Deevesy's on the bench as well, that's the way it works. But I think we need, again, you play in a big tough side, and you balance that up with Jack to do everything else.
Yeah, I mean,
We've always got options in it, back row.
Yeah, if we're in a selection meeting, Grant, I think I'm pretty much fully on board with what you're saying. I completely agree. I'd go Ratty at 6 if the HIA and everything with his head seems okay. And yeah, I would go Morgan, and I do think Morris looked almost back to his best when he came off the bench. I thought he was absolutely class. So I'd start him at 8 as well. And I think Morsey sometimes is better as being that impact player. Yeah, coming on, yeah, bit more space, yeah, adding energy. So yeah, I'd potentially go 6-2 and have.
So
Yeah.
what if James Ratty's not fit? Do you move Jack to 6, or do you play the two MMs together? Do you put Sutton to 6? Do you Rhys Davis to 6? So right, question is, yeah, if Ratty's not fit, how do you balance it?
If Ratty's not fit, I think we have to have another line out option in the back row. Simply because our line out did struggle a little bit against Con-nacht. And I just think you could go all out sevens and go Deevesy and Morgan, but I don't think that has enough balance for me, and you need a line out option. So if Ratty's not fit, I potentially move Rhys Davis to 6 and bring Hugh Sutton / Fender into the second row, probably Fender because he's more of a line out option, and keep Hugh Sutton to come on as an impact player. So I'd probably go, Smith, Fender, and then, Rhys Davis at 6.
It's not bad, is it, when you got Rhys Davis at 6?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good problem to have. I'll back 5 options at the scrum. You could put anyone in there and they'd be amazing. They do such a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's hope Ratty's fixed. He's been brilliant for us, and then we can go Ratty, Morgan, Morris. Yeah, and then halfbacks. Are we thinking?
Kieran Hardy, we haven't seen him play for the Ospreys since the end of the Six Nations, have we?
This is what I don't get, right? So I haven't heard any injury updates that he's injured, but he's had about 5 minutes in each Six Nations game at most.
Yeah.
So he can't be rested.
No, it's a big game. You want someone who can do that little bit more than every single those as many benefits as you get, those 0.5% benefits. Okay, you can make a difference in this game. And I think if Kieran Hardy's fit, then he gets automatic selection above Ruben for me. But I like what Ruben can do. He might frustrate a few people every now and again, but I love the fact that he can snipe and break. And like Hardy, his support lines are superb. And how often do we see that one of those two finish a try under the posts? So yeah, but yeah, where's Kieran Hardy? Please come back.
Yes, 100%, and I'm on board with that. I think I love Ruben as an option off the bench, and yeah, I think Hardy especially in knockout rugby, I just think his box kicking game is really accurate, and we're strong in the air, and He snipes really well. He's dangerous close to the line. There was a few times where we were close to the line, and obviously Lukey Dye's controlling it really well. But how many times have we seen Hardy just dart and get one from 1 or 2 meters out?
Yeah.
He just seems so strong in that area. So yeah, bang on board Hardy and Dan Eds. Right, centres.
I'd almost say, right, which centres did we play against Ulster at home? So I'd pick those two because they worked.
Yeah.
I can't remember who played in that game. I do feel as if the balance is wrong at the moment. I don't know if they just need more game time together. So do you stick with what we've just got? Do you go back to the two Welsh boys? Do you go back to the two non-Welsh qualifieds? Yeah. What would you do first? I'll critique your selection because I'm really undecided.
I am fully thinking, despite what I've said. So I'm just looking at the centres from that game. So it was Kieran and Owen, and that cements what I was already kind of thinking is these boys have played together for years. They're rock solid. I want us to use Kieran differently. I want him to use him at what he's amazing at, which is getting you gain line, offset piece. I want to use him coming hard at that Ulster 10 again and again and again. See how many times he fancies bringing him down. And then second phase, you can use Owen slightly wider as a ball player at 13. And defensively, I just think those two are. I know they struggled a bit against Benetton because of game time, probably. But yeah, for me,
Yeah.
that's your centre partnership.
Well, based on my initial logic of whoever played in that first, the game for Gent, okay, can't argue with that.
Perfect. Right, now on to the back three.
Jack Walsh, 15, done deal.
Yeah, wheel him out again.
Yeah, and winger wise, like again, it's a matter of if Keelan's fit, he plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a couple of weeks off, so is he really fit? Don't know. If Keelan's fit, he starts. If he doesn't, and I've got to pick another two wings, I don't. Dan Casende, you know what you get, and he played really well on the weekend. It's one of his best games for us. Luke Morgan looked really sharp. Iestyn Hopkins has never let us down either. Keelan plus, you would just say for balance, if you had Keelan plus Casende, it's a good balance of size and physicality and pace. So yeah, playing safe. So Keelan plus Dan.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's our first choice, kind of back three, those three. And I think it's harsh on Luke Morgan, brilliant on the weekend, really good performance. And yeah, if you look at some of the other, Houston was brilliant off the bench against Benetton, but this is a massive game. And I just think you go with the tried and tested options in knockout rugby. And this is our season on the weekend. Like we're probably not going to make the playoffs now. So this is it. This is our season and we've got to throw everything at it. And I think you go with the tried and test. And if Keelan is fit, you go Keelan Dan, and you go Jack Walsh fullback.
Yeah. Keelan's not fit. Luke Morgan, based on the performance on the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's too. You can't not pick him because he was brilliant. I worry a little bit defensively positioning wise. He wasn't tested at all against Connacht in that area, and he's up against Vernacock, and I do worry a little bit. But then, who would I trust more? Do you chuck in a young Harry Houston? Probably not. Yeston's been brilliant every time he comes in and probably would offer another ball playing option as a winger. He offers something slightly different, but I wouldn't be against Hopkins maybe starting at 11.
No, he's a nice player, isn't he? He's a real solid rugby player. I like his style.
Yeah. But let's hope
he's finished some fantastic tries for us, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, only important tries. He doesn't do 60 points against anyone.
No more important than this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Right. We'll try and put together a bench quickly. So front row replacements, Grant. Who are we thinking?
Steph Thomas, Sam Parry, It's a big game. I'd rather have solidity rather than a little bit of pace in this game. If I didn't say Reece Henry, would you talk to me again?
I'd be pretty disappointed.
Yeah. The second row is like second or Fender, depending on who's starting. Morgan Morse on the bench. How many is that? Is that 5 forwards? But you'd go for a 6-2 split.
I just think Deavesy. I just think
Oh
Morse
my
and
God!
Deavesy,
Yeah,
just unleash them with 20 minutes to go. There you go, boys. Unleash. Fly
yeah.
to everything.
And perish the thought that Jack does go off with, being struck by lightning or something. Then, Deavesy is the person to come on, isn't he?
Yeah. There's a small part of me who just thinks I want energy on my bench. And I think Sam Parry's been amazing. And to be fair, if you have a line out to win you the game on the 5, I'd want Sam Parry throwing the ball in. Like, there's no doubt. But there's
Yeah,
also a part of me that just thinks, if I'm going energy, do I go for a Lewis Lloyd who will be on for 20 minutes, make 15 tackles, make 10 carries?
yeah, yeah,
And similar with Stefan Tom, I think the last couple of games he's been really good, and the scrum penalties we were on his side of the scrum, which is
yeah,
brilliant. Is exactly what we wanted. But at the same time, I just think as well, Garin offers more around the field, and it's what you want and who you trust in that element. I think those are the only tight calls I'd say out of the forwards on the bench.
yeah, yeah. Backs, Ruben
Yep.
plus War. Who's left?
So they tend to like Bosch off. I know as a 23, they seem to always pick him.
Yeah,
But for me, I don't know why. And this is turning into a bit of a Faulkner singer love it. This is for me because I just seem to be constantly hyping him up. But I just think I'd want him to come on and offer something different. I think with Bosch off, he offers the same as what a Watkin does. Really solid defensive 13, great.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if I'm down by 10 to 15 points and we're chasing the game, Faulkner Singh is the 12 I bring on to go do something different for me. I want you to take it flat to the line, bring Dan Eds out the back as the second ball player, give him a bit of space, offer that sort of triple threat.
yeah,
So personally, I'll go Phil. I don't think they will go Phil. From evidence in the past, I'd say they're more likely to go for a Bosch off if he's fit.
yeah. And if you're on a 6-2 bench, then the other position, if Yeston isn't starting, you'd be benched. If not, Nagy.
Yeah, true. True. That's a good point, actually. I think you're probably right on that. I think Yestin probably is the option if he's not starting.
Yeah.
As,
Comes full back 3. Yeah, emergency 10 cover.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Nice. Right, we're getting into score predictions now, Grant.
Well, Ulster have got a few injuries, haven't they? So it gives me a little bit of confidence. We've got Balakoon out and things like that. So, oh God, Ospreys by 1. Can I just say that? By 1, please. I can't not back us.
Yeah. Go on then. Ospreys by 3.
Yeah, there's no big we're going to win by 14 points this week, is it? It's going to be a tough, tight game in a place that's hard to go. So, but who they got out? Michael Lowry, Balakoon, James Humphreys, Jack Murphy, Jay Flannery, Postlethwaite, and there's a few others having some injuries assessed for the week. So they've got a few problems, but they've got a bloody strong squad as well. So
Yeah. Either way, it should be a cracking game, and I think Izuchuku is a big loss for them. I think he's brilliant when he's fit. He's so mobile. He's brilliant around the field. So, yeah, what are we saying? They're there for the taking, Grant. They're there for the taking.
just don't get the individuals who might be starting for the go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully they're not tuning in. But it's going to be a tough game. But our season is dependent on this.
Yeah.
Our season could be finished a week, in less than a week's time. So let's hope hope we can get something to do.
Cycling all our way, right? Okay, there's 70 odd of us riding out there for Ride to Rugby. Okay, we're all hoping for. Apart from the ride organisers, about me massively disappointed when we're all going, we're not cycling the last day. We need to be there a day early.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, 70 odd people hoping for an Ospreys Challenge Cup final appearance.
No, exactly. Right, we'll wrap it up there. That was a nice pod. Yeah, so good luck Ospreys this weekend, and yeah, thank you all for listening.
Cheers all.
Yeah.